All right. Straight in. So the microphone is in the frame. Better. Other desk knickknacks here. All right. This up here. We'll maybe use that later. All right. This morning, I'm jumping straight in, and I am working on PR reviews. Specifically, this one, which is for typing. And the main thing I'm trying to figure out right now is, does CircuitPython and MPY cross allow typed constant variables like this? I know we've been doing types for function arguments and returns. I was thinking there was a problem somewhere with variables, but it's possible that it was some other issue and I got things confused. And so if there is no problem, then essentially I think we're probably good on this PR. Pending, I guess, a couple other changes. Looks like maybe TechTrick took another look this morning. But if there is an issue, then we'll need to go back and remove the typing from the variables like this. The thing that complicates this a little bit is I don't actually have this particular device. So what I'm going to do is try it on a different device, which I do have, because I suspect it should behave the same across any of them. So I have a LSM 60S33, which is a accelerometer, I think. Yeah. And I'm going to use this new feather that happens to be on my desk. Feather TFT. And we're just going to use this nice convenient stemma cable. Plug this in here. All right, let's see. Make sure it's the right way. It seems like the right way. There we go. Stem cables are super handy. They're a little small for my hands. I'm always afraid I'm gonna like push too hard and break it. So these are on the top. On the top. It's in. Okay, this is connected, just kind of hanging on there. That's all right. Let's plug this in. And basically, we're gonna go to LSM 60. There's different ones. Motion sensor. Okay, this is what I have. Ever though. Take me to GitHub. So the thing I'll do is just see, have we done types on this one? Our issue is closed. I'm guessing this came around the same time. No, this is something different. Code, okay. Guessing we have done typing already because there's no issue for it anymore. Make sure that this does constants in it the same way. Kind of a thing that a lot of I2C drivers have. Okay, yeah, we do have some constants. But none of them are typed currently. So what we'll do is, I think some of these got done as well in this one. Okay, these are all the constants now. And then I think Show all ints. I want to say those RW bits. Yeah, this sort of stuff here does have RW bits. Okay, RO bits on the ones that are like that. Okay, so let's first thing, let's just level set. Do I have this repo locally? Let's just get it running on the device and make sure the simple test is working. And go from there. And just do an open recent and get any random driver that's in that directory. Because then when I do open again, this will be pointed to the right place. And I want to open anyway. Okay. Now let's update it. Back to main. This will fetch for me. Fetching, updating 12 files. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna do clear to update my terminal thing here. On main, we're gonna take a simple test. Put that on our device. I'm gonna save this. Probably not, but I will. Okay. Okay. Paste this. This should fail because I don't have the library yet. Take this. And here we are going to have to MPY cross it. Okay, no register we need also. Address at 6A. So this, what is this code? I wonder if this one has the thing where there's a stemma I2C. Yes. I don't know if that copied or not. Have a power lighter? Also, this person ever seen? This does have a power light on. Oh, this is a MPU 6050. Plugged on the wrong thing. That would explain it. Go. There we go. Okay, so now we're getting values. We're definitely connected to the sensor and everything seems to be working fine. It's an accelerometer, so the values move, or change, I should say, if I move the thing around. So everything looks good there. So what we will do is go back into here and try adding. So this one does extend. Okay, so for all of these, we are typed as ints. This one, and it comes full an int before the equals. think that should do it. It's not marked as a constant, and I guess this would also be float. Okay, and let's try to do these ones too. I would assume these are going to get used. Accelerometer range, data rate, gyro rate. I don't know for certain, but my guess is these will be getting used for the processes that we are running in the simple test. We'll try to match syntax like we had here. Okay, these unary structs also do RO unary struct. This one. Yes. Whoa. I guess these would be the same. This one is just bit. It's this one. Bit. Bit. And this one's back to RO. Unary struct. Okay. This one's a space here. Let's do that. Okay. We should be good now, I think. This is basically what we're trying to test, is do all these types cause any trouble. So the first thing I'll do is just pick a copy of this updated driver, put it back into here, delete the old one. This is going to go back to failing. We're going to put this in. Okay, that's a good sign. We're still getting all the same. And we definitely have all these typed now. So the one other thing we do want to test is MPY cross, because this is all kind of stemming from a vague memory of one of the other typing PRs where I thought we ran into trouble with this maybe after it got MPY crossed, but it's very possible that it was like a different issue entirely. I don't know exactly how the MPY cross. Well, first of all, you have it. I wonder though. Is there a version? Okay. So I'd say there might be a newer one than this, honestly. Native fruit, there we go. Okay, we're on main. Let's update. Whoops. Nope. I've had anything to commit, I don't think. It's What this is. Open this here. Just kind of like work time for me, so I'm checking in on this. Katney's asking me about this. Let's see here. Oh, I remember this. Okay, yeah. Simple bit and bits. Okay. So I don't think here. Yeah. So basically RO bit and RO bits, which are actually a concept that we were just looking at in the code. We just typed some, I think, right? It's changes. So we did have some changes that it's trying to commit. Let's pull this. Maybe this will work in the background. So these ones we just added actually types where it's coincidence this came up right now. Like these RW bits and RW bit with no S, and there's also RO bit in bits, I think. These are concepts for I2C right now. This person opened a PR for adding them to SPI long ago. And I tried testing this, but I could not figure out how to do it. Partially, honestly, my knowledge of low-level I2C and SPI drivers is just not really that expansive. Like, I just don't know that much about what it's doing at that level, so it's tough for me to try to rewrite the driver code. That is something I want to try to get into this year, though, so maybe this makes a good thing. Let's read through here, because it has been quite a while since I did anything. Right, so there was some discussion about basically there could be different stuff with SPI. There's more to SPI. It can specify, I guess, like high-low for the data. There's also obviously like the chip select pin, which is not in play. I2C. And so, yeah, honestly, a lot of this is all over my head. I think the simplest thing is to have it as part of the register fields constructor, then it can change the top bit or two as needed. Right. Okay. Yeah, so honestly, I think I still don't necessarily have the knowledge to be able to do this. Let's see here. Very... So my understanding of this is basically that the ones that were here probably would have worked in certain scenarios, but there are different devices maybe where it wouldn't work because of the way that the SPI device is expecting to be communicated with. And then ultimately there was a desire to move this out of register, I guess, probably to its own or to, yeah, to its own, to register SPI. Ultimately, we'd want to make a new library, CircuitPython underscore register underscore SPI. It would contain this code. And then theoretically, SPI drivers should be able to use it. SPI driver is like an actual device driver, more like this one that we're working on here. This specific device is this gyro I have. And inside of here, there's, well, this might be I2C only. Yeah, this one actually, it looks like is I2C only. Some of them, there will be any of these. Will extend, I guess. So some devices you can connect over SPI or I2C, and so there's kind of both drivers, both variants, usually as subclasses. Looks like this one's all I2C though. I don't know another one off the top of my head that does SPI. Well. Two quargs. Okay. It sounds like there's renewed interest in getting this moved to its own library. This wasn't a PR that we closed just because it didn't get updated. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Gotcha. Yeah. From what I understand, this is like a thing that will make it less. This will make it easier to write the end device drivers, like this accelerometer driver. Of course, this one's I2C only, but as we can see, it was using these things. So currently, I2C drivers can use those, but SPI drivers cannot. I guess the code is a little more complex for SPI drivers, whereas this allows it to be simpler, where you can kind of assign individual bit or multiple bits to variables and then be able to read and write them later. And then ultimately, these are getting sent across the I2C or the SPI line and telling the host or the client device, I guess, to peripheral. I think they call it peripheral device. It's telling it to like read things out of registers and write things into registers. Okay, let's see where we ended up back here. We went to here, we pulled local changes not restored. Or update. What? Just gonna pull again. This is probably not gonna help, but I don't know what. I don't know what local changes I would have had. I guess if worst comes to worst, we could just clear out main and then hit stash. Why we can't pull then? Already update. Are we actually already up to date? It's the latest actual change here. So ports STM common HAL plus IO UART-C. Basically, I'm just trying to see if I actually got updated or not, since we were getting that weird error. Ports STM common HAL UART plus IO UART. And this is around line 329. What is this? I think Control G. Yeah, 329. I'm trying to remember to use this little shortcut more. Disable. So yeah, it looks like this comment was not there previously, and we do have it now. So we must be on the latest version. Okay. So I'm gonna go here. What is there? Just make MPY calls? Make MPY. No. Oh, nothing to be done for it. So seeded, it just decided that it didn't actually have anything to make. Maybe we could delete build. Delete this. Delete this. Then run it. Oh. No? Not good. Now those things are gone. Oh, okay, so we go make, I see. Go into here. Then run make here. I think this is a typo, isn't it? This says mcache and this says March. Hey there, I10 Field. Thanks for tuning in to the Twitch. I don't have any kind of Twitch bot commands set up. That is something would like to get into. If you happen to know like how people set that stuff up, I'm still pretty new to the streaming stuff. Well, I've been doing it for a little while, but I'm new to like all the technologies and stuff. If you know how people set those up and you're able to point me towards how that's done, I would be interested in doing something like that. I can let you know though, the project I am working on basically are just PR reviews broadly for the CircuitPython project. If you don't know anything about CircuitPython, the best place to get started is circuitpython.org. You can learn here. This is basically a version of Python that runs on microcontrollers, and I'm working on reviews for the libraries today. So specifically, I'm trying to test out whether these typing annotations on variables are going to cause problems or not when they run on the microcontroller. And if you were around when I was just talking about RW bits and RO bits and stuff like that, that was a different PR review, different conversation, but happens to use some of the same stuff. And so I am building MPY-Cross in order to be able to run it on the code that I added those annotations to. Okay, so that does look like it was the same version as this one we saw here. Yeah, 645. Yeah, 645 G4 9207. Okay, date's the same. 5 CircuitPython. So I think we cannot do the whole library at once. 22 or 20. Yeah, I think we can't do the whole device at once, or the whole folder at once. It's probably a command in here. Always wondering how CircuitPython compares to Lua for embedded programming. It's a good question. I will say I don't have too much experience with Lua myself. So I probably am not the best one to compare. Really, the only Lua that I've done is it was a I think it was a mod for Factorio. Factorio's modding is Lua. From what I understand, Lua is like embedded into other systems quite frequently. It's like a scripting language. I actually didn't know there were microcontrollers out there that had Lua. That's kind of cool. Go to PyPy. So where do we generate these? Somewhere. Okay, build assets. Runs build bundles. It runs file name, prefix. Array location is dot. So, can I actually run this? Yeah, I think we'll be able to run this. I don't know what this is expecting. I also don't know. It might not matter too much. Well, we're not going to do that. Output's row name, so I guess, would it be this? Yes. CircuitPython is minified Python environment for embedded controllers. Yeah, that's exactly right. This is it's a version of Python that runs on the microcontrollers. It is a subset of CPython. It does not have 100% of all the same capabilities as CPython. And also it has its own library ecosystem and stuff. So you can't, while you do write Python code, you can't necessarily just take a CPython library and use it on the microcontroller, right? So you can't necessarily just get something like NumPy or, Python requests or something. We have analogous libraries that do some of those things for the microcontrollers, but that is an important distinction. Sometimes folks don't necessarily understand as like, oh, I'm writing Python code. That means I can just, go and reuse any Python library, and that is not necessarily the case. If it is a pure Python and doesn't use anything outside of the very basic standard lib, then sometimes it can be made to work. But like larger Python libraries, like Django is a project I work on a lot for web frameworks, stuff like that can't be used on the microcontrollers. It's really nice though, if you don't have any experience with it, the way that you write your code is kind of the main sort of calling card, if you will. One of the primary things about CircuitPython is the way it works is this shows up connected to your computer as basically a thumb drive. So I have this device right here. This Feather TFT device is plugged into my PC. It shows up as this CircuitPy thumb drive, and all we have to do is just open this code.py file, edit the stuff inside of there, and then once we save it, it will automatically run. So, you know, we could add something different to this, like hello Twitch or something at the beginning, and I'll open back up the terminal, and all I have to do is just save this. So I just did a Control S, and it saved and automatically started running right there. And so there's our updated output from the newest version. And of course, this one happens to be spamming readings from this accelerometer as well. How does it behave for real-time setups like interrupts triggered by controllers? So we don't have, it's not possible for end user code to just arbitrarily run code on an interrupt or anything like that. There are a few select modules that are built into the core that do stuff in the background and kind of collect the results of things and are able to return them to the user code. One example of that is the keypad module, which scans key matrices and then basically stores a queue of events from the matrix, and then you can access that from the front end. So, or well, from the user code, I should say. I think of it kind of as front end and back end, but so you cannot arbitrarily just make interrupts and triggers and things like that. But lots of the things that people want to do with interrupts, like those have been implemented specifically in the core. Not 100% of everything again, but the things that most commonly came up. The other option you do have, if you are able to write C code and build your own custom build of CircuitPython, then you can actually put your own C code into the core, and that C code that's in there can do whatever you want with interrupts and backgrounds and anything, right? And then you could call it from your Python code, but there's not a way to just directly take user Python code and set it up with an interrupt or a trigger or anything like that. There is async and await syntax, so you can write your code using like async and await if you're used to that style of coding, and it will work the same, but it's not technically an actual interrupt on the CPU. It's just kind of you know, syntax sugar to make it nicer and make it behave the way that it would. I will say I'm not probably, so I use Linux, but I'm not super like into customizing it really, really heavily. So I would say tentatively, yes, I think that's probably right, that it's close to making kernel modules to be able to access interrupts. But I will say also I don't have any real experience making kernel modules or doing anything like that. So it's possible I'm incorrect, but I do think that's the same basic idea. Is like you essentially need to build a special thing into the core if you want to actually do that. MicroPython, I think, maybe has some support for threading and other things. I don't know about interrupts. MicroPython is the project that CircuitPython is a fork of. If you're looking to write Python code for microcontrollers and do need that, MicroPython might be a possibility. Yeah, no worries. I am happy to answer anything that you're curious about with the project. So, to expand a little bit more, I work on the project part-time Mondays, like today is where I'm at. This is kind of like my job for Mondays, is to work on the project and the libraries and things related to it. And so sometimes I will stream if I'm feeling like it. And so I'm always happy to answer any questions for anybody who's interested to get involved. I do recommend definitely go check it out. There's lots of information out there as well, but do not worry at all about asking questions. I'm happy to answer. A bit more understanding of What's the best microcontroller platform to test this on? Best really depends on what you want to do. Generally speaking, if your goal is just to learn about CircuitPython, as of the devices right now that are out there, I would probably recommend either an RP2040 based device, like this Feather RP2040 is one. If we search 2040 in here, this is the downloads page, so this is where you download your CircuitPython firmware, basically, that gets loaded on your device. So the RP2040 based devices, these are pretty plentiful right now, and they're relatively cheap. In fact, they're a lot cheaper than all the previous generations of devices. I say a lot cheaper, maybe like half the cost. I think this Feather is like $12 or $13, whereas comparable Feathers in the past probably would have been like $20 or $25. So cheaper hardware because the RP2040 chip is so readily available and cheap. These are good for like general, just trying to learn about CircuitPython, like a Feather or a CircuitPy. If you don't need as many I/O pins, this would kind of work, serve the same purpose. Itsy Bitsy is kind of in between. It has more pins than a CircuitPy, but not as many as a Feather, I don't think. And it doesn't have the built-in charging circuit. These are great little devices if you're just trying to learn the basics, like play with LEDs and buttons and I2C sensors and that sort of stuff. If you're interested in other things like Bluetooth, for instance, then you're probably looking for something that is NRF 52840 based. So we can filter processor family here. So that's going to be all of these ones. And the nice thing about these are based on an NRF 52840, which has built-in Bluetooth. So you can connect to it like with BLE devices, with phones. You can send data back and forth. Other sensors like heart rate monitors and stuff like that you can connect to with these devices. So if that's the kind of stuff you're interested in, then like I'd probably aim for one of these NRF 52840 devices. And then on the third sort of end of the spectrum here, if you're interested in like mostly IoT and internet type stuff, then probably ESP32S2. So we don't have native CircuitPython support for the ESP32, the older one, but we do have support for the ESP32S2. So there are a couple devices based on that, different form factors. If you want like an e-ink screen or a regular screen and a couple sensors, there's a Feather form factor with the battery charging. There's a couple other, obviously you can see there's lots of different shapes and sizes for all of this stuff. So, but ESP32S2, if you're interested in the IoT, like fetching data from the internet, that sort of stuff, or posting data up to the internet, that's going to be a good place to start. And then I'll say kind of honorable mention, the older families, which would have been my answer if not for the newer ones, are going to be like SAMD51s, which are generally labeled M4. So like Feather M4 Express. This is pretty analogous to the RP2040. It's just an older processor, and therefore it's a little bit more expensive, but you can do all of the same sorts of things with it, minus the PO sort of stuff, which is new for the RP2040. But I would say like probably my biggest recommendation is try to avoid probably any M0. These are kind of like the oldest CircuitPython devices. They do work for very basic projects. But if whatever you're trying to do is like even remotely complex, then you'll very likely run out of RAM or storage space if you use an M0 device. So the M4s are really a much better starting platform, especially if you want to look at a wide variety of different things. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Let's see. Confederate spy. Yeah, sounds good. Yes, yeah, the M0s are very, very tight on RAM. So the thing about it is that CircuitPython adds its own overhead. So an M0 device, if you run Arduino code on it, you can do quite a bit with it, but CircuitPython, the core itself, consumes some of that RAM. So, you can have maybe 50 or 100 lines of Python code. Something like that is what you can store on there and actually have enough memory to import and use. And then from there, it also depends like if that 50 or 100 lines is relying on too many other libraries, then you still run into trouble. But the M4s are big enough that you can do generally anything you want. The only times I've ever really hit the limit on the M4s are when I'm like specifically trying to fill up the RAM to test something or just see how it's going to behave. Difference between ESP32 and the 32S2. So I don't know too much about the specs. I couldn't tell you that much. The main thing that makes a difference in the CircuitPython land is that the ESP32S2, the newer ones, have native USB support, which is kind of like a hard requirement for CircuitPython, generally speaking, because we want it to do this, thumb drive thing where it shows up here and you just have the CodePy. It needs to have native USB support for that. And so that's why the original ESP32s don't directly support CircuitPython. One thing that does exist are devices like this, PyPortal. Actually, I have mine here. Let me just go back to this. This is a PyPortal, and this is a M4. So the SAMD51 is the main chip, but it does have a coprocessor is what we call this, which is an ESP32 in this case. So this one has an ESP32 on it, and it talks back and forth to the main chip using SPI. And so it can do limited things with the internet via that SPI connection, but it is a little slower. Like this one, and it's a little more complex. There's more that can go wrong. This one is the ESP32S2, so its main chip is the ESP32S2. There is not a separate main chip. It's just everything is in there on this one. And since the main chip directly supports internet connection on this one, there's fewer layers involved. So if you want to actually fetch data from the internet or post data back to the internet, the ESP32S2 can do it directly without having to have that coprocessor thing going on. Let's see here. So we need to MPY cross all of these. I think we... Oh, right, this. Yeah, I think this is probably right, honestly. Let's see what this comes out as. Oh, failed. Syntax error E class? Okay, I did not quite have the right name. This does look like it should be the full name of the repo. So it failed on 7. Syntax error E class Intel. It failed on init. So can we do init by itself? Cross this init. Maybe it's... That did not seem to make a difference. E-class int? E-class? Have that. Will I be around for a while? Need to go and get lunch. I will probably be here for about 1 more hour for now, and then I'll probably head out. We have actually a weekly meeting for the whole CircuitPython community that occurs on Monday afternoons at, it's at 1 p.m. my time, which is Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. The company that is the primary sponsor for CircuitPython, Adafruit, they're run out of New York, so lots of our time things are listed in Eastern. So 2 p.m. Eastern, there is a weekly meeting that's on the Discord. And I will hop off Twitch to go participate in that. I might be back in the afternoon. I don't know for sure. It'll just depend on what I get into working on. I will say, if you're interested in this type of stuff, I normally stream Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Central. So you can catch me pretty much every week at that time. And oftentimes I will stream at some point on Mondays. Sometimes it's in the morning like today. Sometimes it's later in the afternoon or evening. But oftentimes I will stream on Mondays at some point to work on this sort of stuff. So those are the two best ways to find me. I would encourage you, though, if you head to the Discord, adafru.it/Discord, myself and lots of other folks are in the Discord there who are also always willing to help answer questions about some of the stuff. So if you're interested, you can head over there. All of the development takes place. There's a channel on that Discord where all of our development takes place kind of in the open. So you can kind of go and chat directly with the folks working on it. Last question, difference between MicroPython and CircuitPython. There's better folks than me who could probably answer that. The main difference that I am aware of is like CircuitPython decided a different way to organize the core than MicroPython has, because CircuitPython's primary goal was to make the experience the same for everyone. The goal is essentially that you can write one, script of CircuitPython code and run it on any of the devices that are supported. There are some differences in hardware, so this is not like 100% a thing that you can do all the way. You have to write your code a particular way. But that's the goal by and large, is to make the experience the same everywhere and to be very, very easy for beginners. That's the other thing. A lot of our target audience with CircuitPython is like folks brand new. They might even not have any coding experience or anything like that before. So try to make it very easy and try to make it the same across all the devices. MicroPython has a bit of a different philosophy. They want to support as many different devices as they can, and they're okay with sacrificing the same thing everywhere. And again, this is my understanding of it, and I'm probably not the best suited to answer. I will say, I think there was like a CircuitPython AMA, R Python. So for CircuitPython year last year, there was an AMA on Reddit. I want to say that was one of the questions that got some pretty good answers. This is a good place. Hello? Hello? That's interesting. Weird. Hopefully that's not just going to pop up again. I'll paste this in the Twitch chat here. I'm pretty sure this AMA actually had both Scott, which is Tanut, that's the lead core developer on CircuitPython, and it actually had some of the... did that even go to the right place? Yeah, it seems like it should have. It is archived. Yeah, okay. Oh, entire gosh, this UI is so weird. It also had Jimmo, which is one of the primary developers in MicroPython. I think Jimmo was the founder. I want to say one of the questions in here is that. So you can get a better answer from both of those two than you will be able to from me. So I would encourage you to read through this maybe. There's probably other places online where the differences are expanded on a bit more as well, but I don't know them off the top of my head. Discord channel for the meeting is in the CircuitPython dev channel, and I can link you to that there as well. There's a link in all the repos. So chat here. That's the link to join the Discord, and then I'll pull my Discord window over here in just a minute. Get out of this chat. Okay. So this is the Adafruit Discord, and then one of the, I guess, topics they're called technically is CircuitPython Dev, and that's the channel where we do the weekly meeting. So yeah, you're more than welcome to join that if you're interested. You can listen in, can participate if you're interested. That'll be later on this afternoon, and this is where we run it. So we do it in the CircuitPython Dev text channel here, and there's also a CircuitPython voice channel, which we all join, and that's what we do the meeting inside of, is the voice channel as well. So yeah, for sure. what I do here. Somehow I've made this like mega sized. Interesting. Escape does not change it. F11? F11. Okay. I don't know, I must have accidentally bumped F11. Thanks, Cedar Grove. Yeah, that's a good link as well. Yeah, see ya. Thanks for hanging out for a bit, Iton Field. Look forward to seeing you on the Discord if you want to hang out over there. Yeah, this page, I think. That's a good point. Yeah, thanks Cedar Grove for that link as well. This page does have some good high-level stuff as well. See below for differences. I think there's like a whole section, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. MicroPython doesn't have floats for... I guess that kind of stands to reason, though, for smaller boards. All right, where was I at here? So we are failing to bundle this whole thing. Does this fail on, like, main? Let's go... Let's check out a new branch. We want to commit it. Let's go stash. Git stash. Okay. Now that's going to undo all of these. Delete these. I don't know. It's probably not necessary, but I'm superstitious sometimes. I'm going to run. That appears to be succeeding, actually. Or at least it's going a lot farther. I do think we had a problem with that. Let's go to the repo that we're looking at and try building that one from the PR branch, which this is a newer library. I suspect I probably don't have it cloned yet. Okay. Oh, nope, I was wrong. We have a clone. Such remote origin. Ooh, is that trying to push also or something? Huh. This did succeed though. We got a 7x. Not yellow, which is interesting. Side of it is. Okay, AS7341. Go Adafruit. I probably need to fetch. Oh, there's a new version of this again. Oh. I don't really need this right now, but I probably will eventually. All right. Now we're gonna get the PR. 3. And I'm basically gonna run the same build bundles command. I do get a fail to build. Let's try, go back to main. Yeah, this one didn't fail nearly as fast. If it, I suspect it's going to succeed. Yeah, I think these, the error that it tells us is not very easy to understand. In this case, it's only one file though, which is nice actually. Go back to this. Try the single file by itself. Interesting, that succeeds. Build bundles failed. I wonder if this is a thing where like the old version of MPY doesn't support it, but the new version does. $9K. So I know this builds multiple versions. Although there is a question to be had, do we actually need it to keep building the 6th version? I don't think we published the bundle anymore. Where's bundle? Libraries, right? We don't actually have 6x anymore here. I wonder if there is an appetite for moving 6x. I don't have a... I'm not sure if I have a super easy way to try individually building the old version. Oh, well, I don't know where it pulls from. S3 somewhere, I think. No, this is not coming out of S3, actually. These are just cloning the main repo and building it like we did. How it gets old versions. Oh. Let's try to pull it from S3. Okay, and these are substituted in, so my guess is this runs multiple times. And for each version? Oh. Messages, I guess, is going to be hard to find. Yeah, for version in target versions. Okay. So, can I just download it? I would like to, if I can, I would like to verify that it does not build with the old version of MPY across and it does with the new version. I think that's what this build bundles is telling us. But I want to try to grab the file and do it manually. So where does this get Not none. It's not look like a URL? Well, I guess it depends what this is. Okay, well, fair enough. Does make it look like a URL a lot more. I don't know what. Really comes from target versions. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna go /mpy. Doesn't find. Not executable. ls./mpy star plus al. Not executable. Chmod x. Now this in the file, which is this. Let's delete the mpy one. Yeah, doesn't work with 6.3. Okay. So I think the decision to be made is that do we want to keep building 6.x mpy files? If we do, then I think we can't put this typing for right now onto variables. If we don't, then I think it's okay. Because I think these are what is causing it to do that. Maybe these also. That's still the same. Yeah, and now it succeeded. Okay. Okay, I'm glad that I got that nailed down. This is what I was remembering. Never wrote back. type annotated variables like these with the previous version of MPY cross. The newer version, which we changed to starting with 700, I believe, does support it. But we currently have code in the CI actions that still builds the MPY file for the prior version also. Will end up failing. This line too, because it has the branch in it, which is kind of nice. All right. Libraries. I'm gonna butcher this. It's extra I. Annotations to variables. I'm gonna put, I guess, plain variables as opposed to function arguments or returns. But the new version does seem to support it successfully. this is the resolution. We either stop building 6.3, only build 7x, and then it works, and then we're fine to have those annotations, or we take those annotations out and we keep building 6.3 and 7. But that's definitely a larger topic for more folks in the community to discuss than just myself. He is here. I suspect Katney may... Oh, to Dan. Okay. I'll pull this over, actually. I'm going to wait and see what Dan has to say. I'll move on to the next thing. Glad I got this nailed down. I was pretty sure I remembered something. I didn't remember the exact error message, but I was pretty sure something like this. Thought I updated that. So maybe my stuff is old. CircuitPython build tools. Yeah. Okay, which guide is this? The gamer guide. Is code on this page? This is Arduino code. I use gamepad shift in the code snippet. Keypad? Let's look in the feedback. Feedback. Oh, here it is. Okay, it is on this page, and I was just searching the wrong thing, of course. Gamepad shift. Okay. Okay, this will be what I work on next. Let me go back to the room here. Oh, Let me double check build tools actually. Target version. So, because I like control clicked through this. Okay. Yeah. My build tools is not up to date. Which CircuitPython build? Did I just copy it into there? I don't know how to update this though. Build bundles. Bundles. String. I have this. Okay. So maybe if we just update the... Do I just have it in a repo? Though. Show. Okay. 190 is where we're at. So I think it's like this. All right, 190. And now here. Okay. Yeah, I just had an old version. So this does succeed fine. It does still depend on whether we're okay breaking compatibility with 6.3x, which is what I asked here. But that is the root of it. So let's go back here and actually correct this. Yeah. All right. I am gonna run and get a PyGamer because I don't have one here, and the next thing that I am gonna work on is what Katney sent me here. It's in a new. Okay, it's in this browser. I will need. Okay, yeah, we got the edit. Okay. It does, for folks that are unfamiliar, this is the Learn Guide system, and it does not allow multiple people to be editing a page at the same time. So I'm in the editor right now. It tells me here that I'm editing this page. And that means I'm the only one that can be editing this page. So if Katney or Anne or anybody else were on this page that has editor status, it would tell them like they're disconnected. They're not allowed to edit right now because I'm connected. So that's how they avoid like people changing the same thing at the same time. So basically what we need to do is rewrite this code because we no longer have gamepad shift. We now have keypad shift, and that's what this should be using. Yep, Cedar, I accidentally covered up the Twitch chat here, so you might be gone already, but thanks for hanging out. And yeah, I'll catch you if you're around for the meeting. Otherwise, whatever the next time is. Thanks for hanging out. So I'm going to put this back. Let me make this smaller so I can actually try to keep an eye on the Twitch chat. And yeah, I'm going to run in and grab the PyGamer. Let me load this up also, actually learn here. PyGamer, no. what do we want? Keypad. Good. I want Dan's guide. Yeah, this one. This is the new keypad stuff. Shift register. This is what we have. And in fact, this might just be the code for it right here. I'll grab my device, we'll try it out. But if not the exact code, this is definitely what we're trying to do. I've returned with the PyGamer. This thing is still running, bless its little heart, just been taking accelerometer readings this whole time. This is USB micro instead of C. Plug that in. This has a power switch, which always catches me for a few seconds. That's interesting. We don't have CircuitPython on it? I'm kind of surprised by that. I would not have thought I would have just left that without a working CircuitPython. Several libraries we had to update for 7x. Let me pull this back. This is out here. Several libraries we had to update for 7x a while ago in a way that was incompatible with 6x. We saved the latest bundle. Each discontinued versions. Ah, okay. So we're good then to break compatibility. In fact, we already have on other libraries broken compatibility. And the 6... So there is like a one true final build of the 6x bundle. Okay. So this was like the last day before compatibility got broken. So if you are using 6x, you can still get a bundle for it even. It's just not the primary place where we point people. That makes sense. So we are good. I'm going to go back here one more time and just mention we are good on this. It can't take none? I don't know why these look clickable. What file is this? Let me just make sure this isn't actually done. If it is done already, then we can approve this. Probably merge it. I did check over the rest of the types a little while ago. 416, wait for data. Oh, this is never going to finish loading. Oh, it did. Wow, look at that. Okay, yeah, this... Okay, this is... a single line. I think optional is what has to come out, right? Optional means it could either be float or none. None as in it didn't get passed. Since in this case it has the 1.0, if you don't pass it, it gets set to 1.0, which is definitely a float and not a none. Okay. That makes sense to me. Oh, 70. All right. PyGamer. Go alpha. Boot. I wonder if this is gonna have my stuff on it. I kind of feels like maybe it got corrupted and that's why it doesn't have CircuitPython on it now. Huh? It's fine. Came up with the last thing I remember putting on it, which was this, which is a slider puzzle, basically. Like it's a kid's toy thing, where it's usually like, I think it's usually 3x3, and you push these little tiles around to try to make the full image. This one's 3x4, but it really was just an exercise in using tile grid. That is the last thing I remember doing with this. I have no idea how or why CircuitPython would have gotten uninstalled, but... So this doesn't show the loop. I think it really should. I mean, if we just do... Basically... Well, okay, so let's take a step back. Why are we changing this, right? If we go here and if we take this code... Oops. That's one downside of being on the editor page, is it wants to drag and drop instead of copy paste. We take this code and we go to our device, and first thing I will do is copy paste this as slider puzzle, then CodePy, we can delete it. Have a copy here now. And paste this, which we copy over. Not actually paste this. Whoa. And so some of this stuff, yeah, try to import this. Whoops. Try to import this. Yeah, try to import this. And I think this will run and just... Well, I think it will crash actually because it doesn't have gamepad shift. Seem to. Okay. Interesting. The joystick is not hooked up. Thought it was. Buttons are. So this does still work, but I guess will get removed eventually. I mean, we put what? Alpha 2? Did we put 7.2 alpha? I guess gamepad has not been removed yet. Or at least gamepad shift has not. 7.2 alpha 2, yeah. Import gamepad? Import gamepad shift. Rest was left behind. Ah, see. Okay, this one is still there until 8. But it is going to be removed in 8. So we won't see it crash, but this is why ultimately we're updating the guide. This code is no longer going to work. And I think this code, honestly, is the replacement. Key count 8. Okay. Yeah. This gets me pretty much the same things, except for instead of 0, 1, 2, 4, or 1, 2, 4, and 8, which is what we were getting before, which are like bit masks, now we're getting 0, 1, 2, 3. It's mapped a little bit differently. It gives us indexes that count up instead of bit masks. This one did not used to specify how many buttons. It does seem like it's only 4 buttons instead of 8, which is what this code shows. But if you ran it on a... I think the difference there is because on a Pi badge, the D-pad is 4 more buttons. But on a Pi gamer, the D-pad is a joystick, which is analog, actually. It's not buttons. It can take analog readings, tell you like more specifically where the joystick is at. We don't know how many keys are connected to the shift register. There could be multiples. We have to specify a key count. And this is in a section that's talking about the Pi gamer as well, and it doesn't seem to break if you do it with 8, even though there's actually only 4. I think we'll keep that just in case anybody happens to be running this code on a Pi Badger. This is the guide for the Pi gamer, but the Pi gamer is really like next generation of a Pi Badger. It's got a lot of the same hardware. It's a very similar form factor and stuff, so like a lot of the learn guides and stuff are shared between them. Lots of projects that work on one will work on the other. Yeah, here's how you read the actual joysticks. So one thing is this doesn't have a loop in it, which also makes it not quite as useful. Suppose this doesn't have a loop either, though. So maybe that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. We will link also. This was going to the docs. So let's link to keypad shift. But it is to read a small identifier with a number inside, i.e. it's not with a mobile phone. I do not care for this search very much, if I'm honest about it, because I think it's stuck. I think it's not going to complete. But these dots don't stop. I have a bookmark, which I started using because I found it to be better search. I don't know where it went. This. What's in this one? This page has like everything on it already. And so then you can just use Control F to find the things you're interested in, rather than like trying to have JavaScript find it. So that failed because I don't see this one. Maybe it's not finished loading. Oh, 39 matches. Or keys. What was the import? Oh, okay. This is it, actually. Yeah. So it's not its own module this time. Inside the keypad module and this, basically the thing where it should be too. Register keys. You know what I think I'll do is also link to this. Also link to this page. Might as well, right? This is newer, so my guess is it just didn't exist. There's also a guide covering its usage. And so basically, I guess the code we'll take is this, and then event equals k.events.get, because that's pretty much what was here. Which is part of what you would need, but not like, if you just copy this to your device, it's probably not going to help you out very much, because there's no loop and it's not actually printing the event. But that's basically what it was doing before anyway. And this page, which it now links to, does have code, which you could directly just copy to your device. So this is more of a snippet just showing you, like showing you what to initialize and how to access it. I wonder if event is like a reserved word. Interesting that it's a different color. Not a different color on this one. Maybe it's because I didn't choose the right type of code or something. Oh, okay, yeah, that changed the color highlighting a little bit. All right. I think that is good now. So let's go, we can clear the feedback, didn't it? Tools. Do I need to not be in the editor? Wouldn't make too much sense. That correction. This is submitting them. Where? Maybe there's a... Works differently? Back. Maybe it doesn't show it if there is no feedback, but there was feedback. Sure, because that's how Kattni found it and sent it to me. Yeah, it doesn't show up unless it's there. Yeah, I could try to confirm that, but I don't have a way to reach back out to this person. So I guess it doesn't show... Either it doesn't show it to me based on my user, or it doesn't show it if it doesn't exist. Maybe it was already deleted. because this is just a function. Sorry, folks. I'm realize now I'm just staring off screen typing, and you can't even see. I'm gonna leave my Discord over here though, because this is a chat with Katney. I suspect she probably would be okay with it being published. We're just talking about this guide, but I don't. As a kind of a rule, I just don't. I would try not to put my Discord on screen unless it's a public channel. So, but pulled over here now, and that's what I'm just talking back and forth for a minute here. Okay. We will add the loop. So a couple extra lines of code, really all we need. And in fact, I can link here, and it's on this page, basically just this 4 lines. So, well, 4 lines extra, but we're actually getting rid of one, because this one of our lines, which is actually down here, so 3 additional lines, I suppose, it'll count. There we go. Oh, text above here too. Good thing. CircuitPython, we use keypad dot shift register keys. Shift register keys. All right, I think we are good. I'm gonna go just to like triple check everything. What I'm gonna do is just go to the preview side and actually copy the code and just run it back on the device and then make sure it still works. It's pretty much the exact same code I copied from here, so it certainly should. But we will do it anyhow. Yep, good. Okay. All right. Maybe we could, whoops, make these into actual sentences. Period here. Here. Okay. All these. One of these days I'm going to look into the searching CircuitPython docs. This issue where I think the deal is if you search for anything that doesn't exist, I think it fails silently, but it keeps updating the dots, which make it seem like it hasn't failed. I may try to fix that one of these days. But I also think for now I'm probably going to head out. We got about 45 minutes until the meeting. I need to still do my notes, plus I'm going to grab some food and eat a little bit beforehand. So yeah, I will head out for now. If folks are interested and you're watching this like really, really soon after the recording, or if you're watching this live and you're interested in taking part, the CircuitPython weekly meeting, a community meeting that occurs every week on Mondays, is taking place this afternoon. So if folks are interested, it's about 45 minutes from right now. It's 2 p.m. Eastern time is when it starts. Then, we encourage folks to join the Discord and join us for the meeting. You can listen in, you can participate. There's notes doc. You can put notes for what you're working on, hug reports and things like that in there. So head over to the Adafruit Discord, adafru.it/Discord if you want to join that. I will head out. We'll do the meeting. I might be back this afternoon. I don't know for sure. I'll be working on some more stuff, so maybe I'll pop the stream back on. But I'm not certain. You can follow me on Twitch if you want to get notified when I do go live on these cases where it's like I might pop on if I'm feeling like it. But I don't know for certain. So you can follow me there and get notified. So thank you all for watching. I will catch you all next time.